Welcome back, dear listener, to Poems and Potions. On this, the last episode of this season, we will be finishing our interview with Scott Woods, or rather, I should say, Marquita will be. Like I said, I could not be there for this, unfortunately, but she did an amazing job, and I'm kind of hoping that we can have Scott on the show again sometime in the future. But with all that said, we're going to go ahead and pick up where we left off last time. So let's get into it.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the simplest way I can say
That's
it.
the simplest, because we could talk about that all night.
All night, for real.
Yeah.
I had like
beautiful.
I had like late night conversations with Duart, right? Like he would be at the crib and he would message me and he's like, "Okay, I'm about to hit this painting. Can you explain to me like we had to talk it through?" You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, because like he did 3 paintings. Only one of, and I told him, I said, this painting needs to be this, this, and this. But I didn't tell him visually what they needed to be. I said, this is what they need to capture. And by the way, here are the poems, right? Painting he did was the middle one. That one actually was based on a photo of a young lady, Sierra Shanks, who's a Columbus personality, right? Like she does everything. And she had this picture on Instagram that I had seen like a year before. I just loved it. It was so disarming. And it wasn't like all her other pictures that were very posed. And I hit her up and I said, yo, this picture is dope. Can I use this in something? I just don't know what it is yet. And she's like, yeah, absolutely. And then a year later, I kept looking at that picture and looking at that picture. And Black Odes kind of came to me. And so I said, so I told Duart, I said, one of the paintings you have to do is of this picture. Like you can do whatever you want to this picture, but you have to hit this picture. So we had to have a long conversation about what I saw in the picture, in the photo, right? And what did it mean, and without telling him what it should mean to him. And so he had to sit with that and then create. It was deep. It was a real process.
Well, for everybody who has gotten to enjoy Black Odes, I want to thank the 3 of you for being willing to take yourself through that and for giving us that. And then you all also took Black Odes to Cincinnati. Am I correct?
That is correct. So Mark is always looking for ways to perform, like to get the things that he creates into the world, because he does these amazing, powerful, epic things once. And, because they're not cheap affairs. That was a very expensive concert to produce. And so, but once you make it, you can take it somewhere, right? Like you hope you can take it somewhere, but somebody has to pay for that. So it can be difficult to get it loaded and sent off somewhere. We're happy to perform it on the road anywhere, but it's not cheap. Right. There's a lot of people on the stage,
Right.
And they got to learn a lot of music. They have to figure out how to play that. And, the first time we did it at WOSU, we had, all white string players. The band is black, but then we had a quartet and a DJ. So 5 musicians on the stage who were white, who were trying to translate this. And, and they did a great job. I mean, we had to have a different conversation, obviously, right? But the second time that we did it in Cincinnati, there wasn't no white people on the stage.
Oh, okay.
Right? Now, they weren't all black, but none of them were white.
Okay.
And that concert was very different.
Very different.
Very different. It's real. Like Black Odes is literal magic. Like that thing is real.
Yeah. It's something. If you get a chance to see it, people, all I can say is see it.
Yeah. I think OSU still has the first concert online. I don't think they've deleted the files yet.
Okay, so if you get a chance, people go online and see, can you see that? You will not be disappointed.
And part of the performance is up on the Streetlight Guild YouTube. So there is that. So
Oh, there's that too.
mhm.
Yeah, Streetlight Guild.
Thank you.
Always
It's on YouTube, one way or the other. Either through
one way or
Mark
the
or you Streetlight, it's on YouTube.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, and so for the people who may be asking, so what does all this have to do with poetry?
Mhm.
Listen, poetry is in everything.
Oh dear.
Poetry is, it is. But Scott, so now I want to talk a little bit about this other thing that you did last year at Short North Stage.
The Alsatian Queen.
The Alsatian Queen.
Yeah. So that was another concert in this series, right? So the WOSU relationship fell apart, but we still wanted to keep doing shows, right? Technically, the Johnstones had contracted me for 3 concerts, 3 musical performances. So one a year, basically one big something a year. And those were all going to be at WOSU, but that fell apart. But we wanted to keep doing it. So independently, we produced it. And the Short North Stage came through. And so we did it there. Now, this was another instance in which came up with the idea, and I went to, a composer, musician to realize it. But this one was different. Phil Maneri, legendary local bass player, just a guy who's been everywhere. He's seen it all, and to me, and he's just a legend, right? A musical legend. I had started doing some performance with him at Streetlight Guild with him and Trista Hill over the last year or two, and I was always very taken with his bass, right, for obvious reasons. And so, and his bass is like 160 years old, and I was like, yo, that bass was around when slavery was around. Like, there's got to be all kinds of stories wrapped up in that thing. And I would just kind of keep remarking about that. And he was like, yeah, it's been a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And so when it came time to do a concert for last year's part of the series, I was like, you know what? I think I want to tell that story. There's got to be something we can do with that bass and tell the story of that bass, but not just that bass, tell the story of everything around that bass. And so I took that to Phil and I said, yo, let's do this. And he was like, absolutely. And that was pretty much it. Like, pretty much from that point on, it was all Phil's show. Unlike Black Odes, I was not as hands-on in terms of the formulation of it. And look, but I was the producer. Like, I was like, yo, I'm paying everybody. I'm working out the venue. I'm getting it together. You focus on the music and the script and get that to me, and we'll figure everything out. And I told Phil, I was like, look, if there's something you want to do, just let me know, and we'll see if we can do it. And so I basically took every idea he had and just said yes, or made a yes happen. And that was what you saw. Like, it was like over 20 people on that stage, go over the course of the night, and the narration that I did live and all of that with the video work and just everything. It was like,
listen,
and it was funny because I was like, after Black Odes, I was like, yo, that's like, there were so many people on the stage. We got to go smaller. I was like, the next year, I'm just going to do like a tap dancer and a harp player. And then I went in the exact opposite direction, right? I just made it even bigger. And so, but that was because if you give creative genius free reign, they're gonna run. And so that's what happened. Now I'm gonna tell you, this year, whatever happens this year is not gonna be that. I got one more show on the contract, and it ain't gonna have 20 people on the stage. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I don't know what's gonna be, but it ain't gonna be 20 people.
Listen, Scott, I cannot even describe, even after being there, to people what it was. You just had to be there. You just had to be there. So I'm sorry, people. I can't really describe it to you. It was, my mind was blown.
Well, the good news is we recorded it.
Oh, y'all did?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
amazing.
No. that was part of the budget, right? Like I was like,
Oh,
yo,
okay.
these shows are too amazing and too important to not record. And so we
Oh, I'm so glad.
videotaped it and audio taped it, all that,
I'm glad to hear that because, and then, so even if I go and watch it again, I still won't be able to explain. The experience was just, I was like, huh? Wait a minute. What?
Yeah.
Wait, what's going on now? Like, what could they possibly do next to just, keep me here? And I mean, from beginning to end. So thank you, Phil Maneri. And he is awesome. He really
He
is.
is. He is.
And all the people who participated. And I look forward to still, even though you say it's not going to be that big, it doesn't matter, because I know whatever it is, it's going to be well worth um, our time and our attention.
Thank you.
And yeah, and you know what? We didn't pay for any of this stuff, did we?
No, they were free concerts.
They were free concerts.
Yeah, the Johnstones footed the bill across the board. And so, they're actually there. That's a value that they bring to the table.
Yes.
Traditionally, I'm very much like, if I give you something, you got to pay for that. Whatever that, it may be cheap, but you're going to pay for it.
Right.
And their model is, their value about that is very different. They want to put, culture, specifically new music, in front of as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And so, which I have no problem with if you're willing to pay people what they're worth to do that.
Right.
You can't say, I want y'all to do this amazing thing, and then I have to pay people $50. Like, that's not how that works. So, I'm like, yo, if the budget is right, we can keep doing this. And they're like, well, we have money, so let's keep doing this. And so, yeah, those concerts are free. The one that will happen this year will be free, or whatever it is will be free, because, well, let me not even get into it. We'll see what happens. But it will be free regardless.
But it will be free.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Almost everything that they fund is free.
Yes. They yeah, that's a whole nother conversation, just the Johnstones. Wonderful people.
The one thing that I did have to kind of move the needle on for them was recording things. Like, they're very anti-recording.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, yo, no, this can't happen once. You can't do that to people, right? Plus, I come from a history of Black art that is generally erased out of history. If it's ever been recognized, it gets erased. And I was like, yo, not this level, right? Like, if you want to not record open mic, knock yourself out. But this is not open mic, right?
This is not open mic.
This is genius stuff.
And there's not open mic. Mm-hmm. Oh, listen, everybody's welcome to open mic. Everybody's welcome to the stage at open mic. But this right here, what we doing, no, everybody ain't up here. Which is cool, which is good.
I was embarrassed they put me on the stage. I was like, what are you talking
Whatever,
about?
Scott.
Nah, I was like, yo, there's a string quartet up here. I need to be sitting in the audience. But whatever. And look, I don't put myself in these positions. I'll be like, yo, whatever you want to see happen is what I'll make happen. And then they asked me to do that. So,
right.
Well,
it was the right voice for the narration.
I will accept that.
You'll accept that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, what advice do you give to individuals who aspire to become poets? Like, what lessons have you learned that you think would be valuable to them?
You need to read twice as much as you write. That's my one, like, hardcore. You need to read twice as much poetry as you write. Minimum. Minimum, right? Like, if it were up to me, you would read at least one poem a day. Okay. And I'm not too picky about what that poem is, but I think you need to be putting that fuel in your tank every day. And look, it's one poem. What are we talking about here, right?
Right.
So
One poem out of 24 hours. You can certainly do that.
yeah, yeah. If you wrote one poem a day, I would be concerned, right? But if you read one poem a day at least, then you're doing the right thing. And then,
And I like that.
mhm.
Yeah, you were specific about not just read poetry.
Well, yes. And I will tell you, as someone who, self-educated in this regard, my first references when I was doing poetry and I was just randomly writing, there was not much reading. But then once I decided I needed to start reading, I wasn't always just reading poetry, right? I was like, well, now that I'm doing live performances, I got to be studying that. So I studied a lot of comedians and stuff like that for the interest of poetry, which frankly, I'm not saying it was the worst thing in the world, but I probably still would have been better off reading a poem a day, right? Like at that stage. And, frankly, everybody should still be doing that. Like, why would I stop doing that,
Right. Absolutely. Especially if you want to get better. Yeah. Especially if you want to get better.
Look, I'm gonna tell you, can I just say this real quick for the record?
Okay.
Because you're dealing with an open mic now that has a lot of fresh faces, people new to poetry or recent to poetry, or across the board. You have a lot of those. If you're putting 40 people on the stage every week, then you're getting a lot of new people or fresh people. Put it that way. And the one thing that I really want to shoot down for anyone in that room, every room, but especially that room, is if you think that taking in the work of other poets, like reading poetry or experiencing poetry in other places, like if you're concerned that that will change your voice and it will affect what you write and you don't want that, then you should just stop doing this. It should change your voice. It's supposed to change you, right? Like that's the whole point.
Right.
Like if you just want to like get up and do you, I mean, there's no law against it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are actually interested in writing a better poem than you're writing now, then you should be engaging other people's poetry. I just got to get that out there because there's so many people that in this year of our Lord 2024 still believe that.
Not in this year of our Lord.
Yes, in this very moment, someone that is not reading a poem because they think it makes them better.
Reading a poem and thinks that makes you better, or engaging other people's poetry. Well, I just want to.
I don't want to change. Why? For God's sake, why? Why don't you want to? I want you to change. I got to sit here every week for 2 hours and you don't want to change? Okay.
Yes. We're going to need some changing going on up in
We'll need all kinds of change. Let me calm down before I turn into Cat Williams.
We're going to need some changing.
Y'all need to change. Change is good.
Change is good. Change is good.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I like that. At least, so people, at least a poem a day. That's just not hard to do.
Yeah.
It's just not hard to do.
Yeah. They make calendars with it. It's fine.
So, Scott, what do you hope your legacy as a poet would be?
What? What do I hope my legacy will be?
Yes, as a poet. Or you know what? And I'm not gonna keep you in just as a poet because you just bring so much.
We can keep it to poetry.
We can? Fine. Okay, well come on.
Yeah. You don't have to do the whole Scott treatment. It's fine.
Why not?
We ain't got enough time.
Why not? No, that's a whole nother show, but we can.
But let's see. What do I hope my poetry legacy will be?
Yes.
I mean, it's already there. People going out to see poetry on a regular basis because they think that it will give them something that they can't get any other way. Like my whole thing with writer's block was like, that was like one of the few places in this city where you could go and you weren't exactly sure what was going to happen that night. Like you were pretty sure you weren't going to get hurt, but you, outside of that, you didn't really know what you was going to see or what I was going to say or what anybody was going to do. Like there was surprise. And I love that about spaces. I like being surprised, you know, and art should still have that. It should still be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tried to nurture that kind of space. I never nurtured a safe space. I nurtured a space where you could be surprised. And we were successful with that. And so hopefully my legacy, if there must be one, is that people keep seeking that value out. Art spaces where they can be surprised. Just a little bit. It ain't got to be nothing horrendous. It ain't got to be physical. It ain't got to be, you know, negative, you know, hopefully surprises or none of those things, right? So
Right. So how has your journey as a poet like influenced your personal growth and understanding of the world around you?
Well, poetry allows you to, me, but probably most people who do it, but especially me, it allows me to process things, right? And so, and to be clear, I write other things. So if I just need to process it in a diary, I can do that. If I need to process it as an article or as a column, I can do that. Or in a blog, I can do that. But poetry is a very specific tool, right? Poetry is like observational, right? So you are noting something, you are seeing something. That's generally true for almost every poem that's been written ever. There are very few things you can say about all poems, but that's one thing that is true of all of them. They're all observational in some way. And so what poetry does is it allows you to apply various lenses to what you are observing artistically. And other art forms do that, but I think poetry does that in a way that almost anybody can participate, right? Because the main ingredient of poetry is language. We all have a language. So we don't have to learn an instrument. We don't have to buy, don't need special studio space. You could commit the act of poetry anywhere at any time. So that I think is like the most beautiful thing about it, frankly.
Okay. I like that. You can commit the act of poetry anywhere at any time.
As long as you don't think it's all good, you're fine.
That's a quote from Scott Woods, straight from Scott Woods. I'm going to remember that. Well, Scott, I want to say as we wrap this up, you have certainly been influential in my journey as a poet. I can remember discovering writer's block during the pandemic. And yeah, so that was amazing. And then going back in person. So even though you said you were creating a space for people to be surprised, some way it came off to people as being a safe space, because y'all ain't throw us out. Y'all didn't boo us off with their bad poetry.
I mean, you paid your $5.
Oh, is that what it was? Because we paid our
you paid your $5. I mean, I can't just throw you out just willy-nilly, you know.
And so for doing the pandemic, we just paid with our time so y'all can still say y'all was running.
Oh, well, okay. So now during the pandemic is different. Like we was all bored. We were all looking for friends, you know, so that is a different admission.
Needing to see faces.
Yeah, you know. Now, to be clear, like, you know, my shtick, part of my shtick on Wednesday nights was that I never wanted to be there. Right? I was always like, I don't want to be here. Let's get this over with. Blah, blah, blah. Like 10% of that is true. Right? Like every week I'll be like, oh no. It would be like that until the microphone was turned on. And then I'd be like, all right, we could do this for another whatever. Yeah. But Zoom was tough because I was like, I'm already at the crib. Like,
right.
Why are we doing this?
We coming on here anyway.
The pandemic open mic was not my idea. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. You better be kissing Louise's feet when you see her.
Louise.
She was lonely. So she was like, no, we should do it. And I was like, And I was like, every week? Yeah. All right, man. I was like, look, and here's what it was. I was like, okay, if you set up the Zoom, then we'll do it. And she was like, oh, is that all it takes? You know, so I was like,
it's like a small price to pay.
Small price to pay. Come on. All right, here we go. You know, 2 years.
Not only will I set it up, I'm going to advertise it and make sure people know that they can get over here.
Well, listen, I mean, but I know I'm making fun of it now, and everything I'm saying is true. But I still recognize how important that was for many people, how that connected us as people, and you know, and how it brought people in who weren't from Columbus, who weren't from Ohio, who would show up regularly, you know, because and we weren't the only open mic online. You know, we were just the one they wanted to be at. That's important. That I don't take that for granted. I'm making fun of it, but I don't take it for granted.
Yeah, I understand. So, Scott, the last thing I'm going to ask you is, what has been the most rewarding aspect of being a poet for you?
I mean, so much of what I have and am as a person, as an adult, I owe to poetry, right? Like poems, you know, put food on my table. Poems, you know, introduced me to whole other parts of the country. Poems took me to Canada. Poems, you know, introduced very important people into my life. Like, I mean, you know, and those are just the material aspects, right? Mm-hmm. This very important material aspects. Like, I can't even list the number of things in my life right now that exist because Scott wrote some poems, right? Like, I wrote some poems and then maybe somebody gave me money for them. Or I wrote some poems and then somebody asked me to drive to their state and do the poems there in front of their friends and people. You know, poems, you know, took me to national stages. Poems did all kinds of things for me that I can't even read. I'd have to like really sit down for several days and list all the things that poetry has made possible. You don't have Streetlight Guild without poetry, right? And I don't mean like I wrote a poem and Streetlight Guild happened. Like that's not what happened. Like I was running open mics for a long time and someone with resources saw that and said, yo, you should be supported to take this to the next level. And that's how you got Streetlight Guild.
Right.
That's the truth. That's right.
For that,
I didn't spend
I'm grateful.
No money on it. I mean,
definitely.
Right?
Great.
Right?
Yeah, because Streetlight Guild, it's just a jewel. It's a jewel in this city. It really, really, really is. It touches so many.
You want to hear a secret story?
I do.
This is something I've never said publicly. So I would say it's been maybe a year and a half or so. It was at the tail end of the pandemic. But I was actually thinking about shutting Streetlight Guild down. For real. I've never told the story publicly. But I was considering it. And I will say, like, there were several factors that rolled into that. But the one that seems relevant now is like for all the things that Streetlight Guild has done, and they're notable and they're cool, and some of them were amazing. Like when we opened doors, Columbus art looked different than it did just several years later, right? Like when I decided to do Holler back in 2017, like Black artists, musicians, writers, whoever, like we were not getting gigs, we were not getting residencies, we were not getting grants, we didn't have venues, we were just not, nothing was happening for us like that. It's like we weren't, it's as if the city only thought there were 5 of us here.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Holler happened, and then after Streetlight Guild happened, like all of that changed. All of that changed. And I didn't do it by myself, but Streetlight Guild had a lot to do with that. And me and my big mouth saying, you need to do more for us, had a lot to do with that. And so by the time, like, you know, like I said, a year and a half ago, whatever it was, I was looking around and I was like, yo, I don't know if people need to do all of the things that we were trying to do anymore. Right? Like, I was like, I don't, you know, bands are playing in places they weren't playing before. You know, and some institutions have stepped up. People are finding avenues to do their things. You know, my place has become too small for some of these things. Like, I don't know if we need, do I need to keep doing accounting and cleaning toilets and da da da? Do I need to keep doing paying bills? Do I need to keep doing all of that? Or what? Right? Like, I was just like, you know, I think we won. Right? We changed the landscape. I think we won. And then, but I almost immediately changed my mind on that. But it was real close there for a second. I was real close there for a second. So there you go. There's some scoop.
There's the scoop.
For you.
There's the scoop. I got the scoop. I got the scoop. Not bad. Not bad. But yeah, well, I for one, and I know I'm not the only one to speak for a lot of people. I'm glad that almost immediately you changed your mind, and
not soon enough, but close enough.
Close enough. I mean, because we could just go on and on and on. I mean, the show that you that just closed not long ago, the last with Duart and Smokey Brown and Malik Carrington.
Yes.
And then before that was Tiffany Lawson. And before that, I remember Nicole Burton having a show there. And then you had 2 artists in residence. There was Nine Wells and Tiffany is still there.
Still there.
Tiffany is still there as a artist in residence. And
she's there right now.
Probably.
I'm telling you. She is.
She is.
She's ridiculous.
So, you know, just the spot, the space is amazing.
Thank you.
It is. And just it's like I said before, it's a jewel in the community. I love where it's located. You know, to me, that's significant. Just being where you are, on Main Street, in the hood. You know,
it's changing, but it ain't all changed.
It ain't all changed. That's right. That's what I'm saying. They trying. They are trying.
Yes.
But you know, there's still that. And so, Scott, I thank you for taking time out to be with us. I was very particular making sure that I stayed away from January the 25th because I know that is your birthday. I was like, he might have some other things that he want to do on his birthday.
Nothing is what I want to do. I reward myself with laziness.
Yeah, I know that's right. I know that's right.
But no, I would never, like, of course I would do this. I love you and I love the cats doing the cauldron. Like I'm a, you know, I don't come out like that. But that's because y'all need me out here doing this, what I'm doing. Y'all need, it's all connected.
It's
It's
all
all
connected.
connected. And
It's
so when
all
y'all
connected.
need something, I'm there. That's it. That's how it
Absolutely. Yeah,
works.
the cauldron is they're push. I haven't been in a while myself, but the cauldron has lasted a whole year. They've
I'm
had
so
their whole
proud of them. I'm so
yes,
proud of
yes,
them.
yes.
Yeah.
And
You get
then
that
and
first year rough.
yeah, and then it sparked the idea for a podcast. And I was grateful that they asked me to be a part of this. Let me do my thing over here. So,
Yes.
um, again, thank you so much, Scott. I can't wait to when the Streetlight Guild opening back up. By the way, oh,
So,
I'm gonna have to
so
call outside Tiffany.
so traditional. She don't know either. So traditionally, but I'm so glad that you asked. But traditionally, I kick off the year with the calendar for the year, right? Like, okay, hey, everybody, here's what we're doing this year, blah blah blah. And I was just like, you know what? Listen. At the end of last year, I was like, we are ripping and running hardcore. We were doing like some really big stuff that was taking enormous energy.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? You know what? How about we change it up a little bit? And so I said, I'm taking a break. Streetlight Guild is taking a break. I think everybody needs us to take a break
I
because
like it.
when people assume that you're always going to be there, they take it for granted.
Right.
And my place is not, it's the right size for that to be a problem, right? You take a
Right.
little place for granted, it don't
Mhm.
take much for it to lose what makes it special. It doesn't take much for it to lose the support that it needs without a bunch of begging. And so I was like, yo, I think we need a break. Let people miss us a little bit. Like
Absolutely.
Prince would Prince would sometimes be in concert and he'd be like shouting out, I got too many hits, too many hits. And so that's what it's like over there. I'll be running around all the time, like, we got too many hits. And so sometimes I got to take a break. And so right now, I'm telling you, this is another scoop, right? Like I said, I'm not even going to start thinking about 2024 until January starts. And so now I'm starting to think about, okay, what are we going to do this year? So we're not going to be open in January. We
Okay.
might be open in February.
Well,
It's not the first year that we didn't open right away. Like there were a couple of years ago, we didn't open until March.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's going to be that long, but we'll see. We'll see. I got to pivot on some things. So, I got to make
But
it
I'm
special
happy.
for y'all.
I'm happy that you're resting. So
Yeah, I'm working differently.
yeah. Well,
Working
so but
differently.
that's rest. That's
If you say
rest.
so. It
Yeah,
don't
you're
feel like
like
rest
street
yet.
light rest. I mean, I like it.
Oh, street light,
Like,
yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Street light
Yes,
is so
absolutely.
I like that. I like that. Well, Scott, I'm gonna say good night to you. Thank you again, and I'll see you soon. You know me, I just could pop up over there. I know where you work. You know how people say, I know where you live.
Yes.
I know where you
And
work.
and I would love to see you under any circumstance.
All right. Well, good night, Scott. Thanks,
Good night
man.
to you.
Thank you for joining us once again on Poems and Potions. A big thanks to Marquita Byers for doing this interview solo. An extra special thanks to Scott Woods for not only doing the interview, but for giving us that little scoop near the end. And I know I speak for many when I say thank you for not shutting down Streetlight. As Marquita said, it is a jewel, and you, dear listener, should check it out. And as always, thank you to our listeners. Catch us again next year when we go into season 2. Thank you for joining us this far, and we hope that there will be many more to come. Poems and Potions is produced by Mandar Kath, Marquita Byers, and R. Taryn Lear. Music and sound support supplied by A.D. Dietrich and Charity Dietrich.
Wow.